Thank you, Shaun Zero. Shaun Zero? Because your name is Shaun and you have zero shame. Oh yeah. So I was planning to do an April Fool's video, but I didn't really have any idea for this year. So I instead made this. And yeah. The name of this game is called Sabrina and the Powerless Soul. As you can see here, the game is fully in Japanese. Why is that, you ask? It's because this game is only available on the outside, and there's no official translation of the game, or even a fan translation at all, considering how niche this game is. I, thankfully, am somewhat of a Japanese person. I'm not actually Japanese, I just studied Japanese before. Anyway, please just let me rant about this game, even if you don't care about it. In this game, we are playing as a harem protagonist called Luca. He has a childhood friend called Hina, who likes him, and a classmate called Amy, who also likes him. Luca and the gang are having a school field trip when they meet a red-haired girl called Sabrina. Sabrina is a strict and serious school prefect, and she's pretty much 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒾 from 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓃. Damn, I feel old just mentioning 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓃. They also meet a creep called Sawada. Sawada is pretty much the most disgusting piece of shit you could have found in video games, as he's an immense pervert who could not stop ogling at girls. Anyway, we progress through the forest until Hina and Amy both find a butterfly, and they want Luca to take a photo of it. We're now given a choice to pick one of them. The one we pick will chase down the butterfly and leave the other on the spot. While Luca is having a sweet rom-com moment with the girl we picked, the one left behind will tragically get approached by Sawada, who will cast a sleeping spell on her and proceed to touch her. Fortunately, Sabrina came in and saved the day before it had gotten any worse. Long story short, Luca and the gang have two new members, who are Sabrina and Sawada. Sabrina is having Sawada on the team so that she can make sure he's not doing anything funny. Later on, they reach a fork in the road. Luca, Sabrina, and Sawada are splitting with Hina and Amy. Nothing significant happened while we were continuing down the road until some insanely strong monster came out from the cave and beat the shit out of Sabrina. Luca, being the 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓃𝒾, swoops in and shields the attack from the monster, while Luca is trying his best to withstand the monster's barrage of attacks. Sawada, being the pussy-ass bitch that he is, did nothing to help Luca. The only thing that he kinda did was move Sabrina to a safer place to hide and proceed to touch her. All while Luca is literally on the brink of his life, fighting the monster. Despite his efforts, Luca failed to defeat the monster and tragically die. All hope is lost and there's nothing we can do until the goat arrives and saves the day. No is a homunculus girl and she's easily the best character in the game. Luca's still dead, by the way. At the same time, Sabrina finally woke up and found out the state of Luca. There's no way she'll let someone who saved her die, so she decided she'll use dark magic to fix up Luca's broken body. For the meantime though, Luca needs to have his souls stored up somewhere before it disappears completely. The safest vessel for his soul needs to be the same gender as his and around the same age. There's only one person close enough and who fits the requirement. So there's no choice but to store Luca's soul temporarily inside Sawada's body. Up until this point, this is just the intro of the game, and it's so long, but at least all of the important characters have been introduced. Luca is somewhat the main character of the game. Sabrina is the main girl of the game. Hina and Amy are kinda there as well. Sawada is a creepy pervert, and No is the GOAT! After a while, Hina and Amy arrive at the scene and found out that Sawada looks kinda different now. He's now blonde, and the reason behind that is that Luca's soul is inside of him. which influences his hair color, manner, and all sorts of stuff. Basically, Sawada obtained all of Luca's stuff, such as memories, powers, and skills. Not his face though. Sawada still looks like shit. Having the biggest opportunity of his life, Sawada lied to both Hina and Amy about how he's actually Luca, and Luca has taken over Sawada's body for the time being. While both of the girls have got a rundown of what happened to Luca from Nono and Sabrina, they kind of forgot to tell them that Sawada is still fucking Sawada. So despite looking like a lord of a human being, Hina and Amy believe Sawada's lies as just able to use Luca's powers and recall some childhood memories of Hina and Luca, completely wiping out their suspicions. On the other hand, Sabrina has created a domain expansion, a secret hideout to help repair Luca's body using some dark magic, which she did so pretty quickly. And all she needed to do now was guide Luca's soul out of Sawada's body. Sounds nice and all, but catch is, while Sabrina is soul diving into Sawada's body, she will stay unconscious during the entirety of it, while Sawada is totally conscious during it. Imagine putting the worst sexual offender and an unconscious cute girl in the same room. What would happen? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? At this point, the game will pretty much play it out the same way. Sabrina goes into Sawada's body to guide Luca's soul back while getting touched unknowingly, and Sawada manipulates Hina and Amy into doing weird shit with him because both of them are just completely fine with whatever things are done to them as long as they believe it was Luca's doing and not Sawada's. You might be wondering why I only talk about the plot and not the gameplay. Well, the reason behind that is that there is no gameplay in this game. It's basically just a visual novel made with RPG Maker. The only input that we have is to walk to a designated tile to trigger a scene, or select some dialogue choices that don't matter. Though I can't complain about the lack of gameplay, as the devs did mention there will be no actual gameplay on the store page. But that doesn't mean I won't be able to complain at all. If I have to describe this game with just a single word, frustrating would fit the best, both gameplay and narrative wise. Sabrina and the Prowler's Soul is frustratingly slow and a slog to play through. If you've been paying attention to the fast forward footage so far, you realize every character in the game really likes to do this emote bubble thing to express their emotions or thoughts. This bubble shit interrupts the flow of the dialogue heavily, and it makes an already monotonous game even more boring. The footage shown here is sped up with an external tool, and it would be way slower if I didn't use that tool to play the game with. Other than having frustrating gameplay, the narrative is also incredibly frustrating with idiotic characters and stuff that just does not make sense. Throughout the game, Hina and Amy will often doubt Sawada's real identity, making it seem like there might be a chance for them to not get sexually harassed anymore. But every single time that happens, all Sawada needs to do is just act a little sad. Boo-hoo, you guys hate me because I'm ugly now, even though I'm still Luca. They will immediately brush off that thought and do whatever Sawada wants to appease him. Or even worse, they'll fucking gaslight themselves into oblivion, never doubt if the actual Luca would ever become such a big perverted creep, and keep on believing Sawada's words. I hate this fucking shit so much because the game keeps doing this and giving you hope that maybe these two dumbasses with 1.5 brain cells will realize the truth, but they never did. It's just a rage bait. Like, Sabrina and Nono are totally fine as their characters and actions make sense. These two characters' entire existences are just pure rage bait. I do not believe they have any purpose in the story other than rage bait. I'm gonna pick up a fucking shotgun and shoot. Upon listening to what I've said about the game so far, you guys might think that I fucking hate this game and it has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, right? The truth is, no. There are things that I quite enjoy in this game as well. And the thing I enjoy the most is probably the scenes. It doesn't have the best art style or character design, and the guys are all ugly bastards for some reason, but the writing of these scenes is written really well. It's really expressive and detailed in a way that makes a simple, touching scene feel more, how do I put it, erotic? The devs probably have Microsoft Edge as their default browser because the amount of edging in these scenes is crazy. For example, a scene where Savada touches Sabrina's ass can be dragged out into multiple scenes where most of what happened in the scene is just Savada's monologues. It is a double-edged sword, however, as it builds up the anticipation of the players, but also drags out a scene of a game where everything already takes ages to start. Despite that, I still kinda like the scenes in this game. What can I say? Maybe I'm a masochist deep down. Other than that, the story in some way is quite interesting. Yes, if you look at the story as a whole, it's a complete pile of dog shit with stupid characters and the power fantasy of an incel where he faces no consequences for his horrible actions. But there are plot points that hook me as well. The dynamic between Savada and Sabrina is really interesting. Basically, they used to be childhood friends and had a fallout one day because Savada spied on Sabrina taking a shower. You know, usual Savada behavior. This event causes Sabrina to hate all men until she meets Luca and falls in love with him because of the harem protagonist's power. Savada, on the other hand, despises Sabrina for treating him like a cockroach and holds a grudge towards her, which slowly changes as more inappropriate touching happens, and Savada develops an unhealthy possessiveness towards her, where he lashes out whenever any man approaches Sabrina or vice versa. It's such a unique dynamic that I've never seen before, and I was pretty invested. Savada legit has the potential to become a compelling, morally flawed character if he weren't written like a one-dimensional horn dog. Alright, no more praises. It's time to return to pain and suffering of the plot again. While Sabrina and Savada are doing their usual ritual again, a new character is added to the story. Yasui. He's basically just Savada but skinnier. Yasui found out about the little teleportation device and got transported to Sabrina's hideout, where he caught Savada doing things to Sabrina. Yasui obviously isn't going to let that slide and blackmails Savada into joining his little touching session. Otherwise, he'll tell on him. And Savada is gritting his teeth while watching his beloved Sabrina getting touched by another filthy man, but he can't really do anything about it. Long story short, Yasui came back another day with a gang of delinquents who are all very eager to do stuff to Sabrina. Now the game will offer us two choices, whether go out of the hideout and check on them, or ignore them. If you choose to check on those people, the gang will force Savada to let them in, kick him out of the hideout, and you know what's gonna happen next. This is obviously a very bad ending, but in the same weird and twisted way, Savada got his worst nightmare come true. Sabrina is getting tainted by a bunch of lowly scums, while all he can do is just watch from the outside. It's pretty fucked up to say this, but it's oddly satisfying to see Savada suffer from his own action, even if it's at the expense of Sabrina. Bruh. By the way, because Savada is kicked out while Sabrina's soul is still inside of him, she has no way to return to her body, and her soul eventually got absorbed by Savada's soul alongside Lucas. The Sabrina is now just a lifeless puppet who can barely function on her own. Yikes. Anyway, if you choose to ignore them, the story will just go on. After some amount of time has passed, Sabrina is finally close to bringing Lucas' soul out of Savada's body. Amazing news for everyone, but not for Savada. If Luca were no longer inside of him, he would lose the powers, memories, relationship with Hina and Amy by pretending to be a fake Luca, everything. Sawada will return to being just Sawada. Of course, he doesn't want that at all. So he came up with a plan. At this point in the game, we'll have two choices that can either progress the story or lead us to one of the endings. If we choose the option of living as Luca for the rest of Sawada's life, Sawada will run away to a faraway place with Hina and Amy to live his harem life with both of them. Sabrina was, of course, pissed off and decided to look for him. Unfortunately, she got stopped by some guards and was arrested for using dark magic. At the end, Luca is long gone, which means Sawada has reverted to his usual form of not having blonde hair. Although Hina and Amy were starting to question if the fat ass is actually not Luca at all, they just won't do anything about it and keep presenting their asses to Sawada. Absolute rage bait ending. If we choose the other option instead, Sawada will take Hina and Amy into a room, have them put on a blindfold, call in the gang, and have all of them touch them, because Sawada is the worst human being alive, as well as the boys in the school. But that's not all. Later that night, Sawada discovered that Yasui was responsible for creating that monster at the start of the game. It was a failed attempt at creating a cute girl homunculus, and Sawada saw an opportunity in this. He borrowed the monster from Yasui and put it inside the hideout, where Luca's body is. So the next morning, Sabrina woke up and found out that the monster had eaten Luca clean, with not a single piece of bone left. After killing that monster, Sabrina is confused as to why the monster was here. This is when Sawada entered the scene, acting all surprised and shit, lying to Sabrina that the monster has secretly laid an egg on Luca's shirt, which then hatched, and that's why the monster is here. If Sabrina had changed Luca's clothes or put in extra care for his body, then it wouldn't have happened, said Sawada. Upon hearing that, Sabrina broke down in tears. There's literally no way to bring Luca back anymore, as his body can't be recreated if there's nothing left of him. Finally, Sawada realized how much he had fucked up. All he wanted to do was just hinder Sabrina's progress and prolong his harem life. Now he has committed a serious crime of murdering a human being. Before Sawada can confess what he had done, Sabrina jumps in and basically takes the blame for this incident by being too careless. Sabrina has really hit rock bottom when she tried to seek comfort from Sawada by hugging him. Now, Sawada can either tell Sabrina that "I'll protect you" or "I'm Luca." By picking the former, it'll bring us one of the worst and best endings, in my opinion. In this ending, Sawada brings Sabrina to his hidden house, where Sabrina can fully focus on bringing Luca's body back without the fear of getting caught. Day after day, you can see how much Sabrina is struggling with reviving Luca, as it's almost impossible to do so, and how Sawada's and Sabrina's relationship is slowly getting closer by living under the same roof. During the night, Luca can appear as a ghost form, and he'll bang on the bedroom door, trying to reach out to Sabrina, but no matter how hard he tries, they just can't hear him, and the door remains closed for Luca. All he can do is just watch the girl that he likes getting closer to the disgusting pig that caused all of his tragedies. It was truly such a painful ending, seeing how Sabrina was slowly opening up her boundaries towards Sawada and even ended up sleeping together. We, the players, while controlling Luca, will start unconsciously inserting ourselves into him and put ourselves in his shoes. So when Luca is desperately calling out to Sabrina, we are also desperately hoping that something good can actually happen to this poor boy who has done nothing wrong, and even sacrificed his own life to save someone else. But like Luca to the door, and we to the game itself, no matter how hard we tried, there's nothing we can do. Like Luca, we're just some powerless souls. Absolute cinema. In the end, although Sabrina didn't give up on trying to revive Luca, the motivation behind that has changed from I want to save the boy I love to I want to repay the debt to the one who saved me that one time. Savada, come here so I can kiss that fat lips of yours. Meanwhile, Savada was having a moment where he reminisced about how it all started and where he has ended up. He'll bring this secret with him into his grave and swear on his life that he'll treat Sabrina with his best as a way to make up to Luca. Luca says, "Fuck you," and the game ends. This ending is the main reason for me wanting to make this video. I've never felt so much emotion ever when playing a game, especially a H game. I was overwhelmed with anger, sadness, desperation, and helplessness the first time I reached this ending. I really felt like that one scene in Breaking Bad where Walter White is screaming inside the car. It is a shit ending, to be fair, but I'm still gonna think about this ending for a long period of my life. Anyway, the game doesn't just stop there, as there are 2 more endings left for us to see. Back to the options. If we choose the latter, Savada will tell Sabrina that he is Luca. Well, technically, since Luca's soul is still inside of him, upon hearing that, Sabrina completely throws all logic behind her and gaslights herself into thinking Savada is Luca. This is a really bad situation for Luca, because if Sabrina accepts this idea that Savada equals Luca, she'll just give up on even attempting to revive Luca and become another member of Savada's harem. When there's seemingly no hope for Luca, the goat is here to help. No, being the only sane person here, refuses to let Luca die and reaches out to Luca with all her might. Now Luca can choose to either reach out for the voice or ignore it. Having just mocked by Savada, Luca decided to ignore the voice altogether and close his eyes. The next time he woke up, a path had been clear, or Savada had cleared a path for him to witness something. By reaching the end of the path, Luca sees that Savada is lying on his bed, happily with his 3 harem members, who all used to love Luca. Savada continuously laughs at how powerless Luca is, and what could have been Luca's harem is now his instead. Very evil. Honestly, this is just another rage bait ending. All of the girls have lost their remaining brain cells, and Luca keeps suffering for the sake of suffering. Let's rewind that for a bit. Luca decided to reach for the voice, and Nono appeared from the light. She came here to save Luca while everyone stopped caring and bring an end to his suffering. On the road to the exit, Nono tells Luca she actually had a crush on him, and it was basically a love at first sight. Like, she's so cute, I think my heart almost stopped for a second. At the exit, Nono has figured out a plan to save Luca. She will sacrifice her body and have Luca's soul stay in it. This, of course, means that Nono will die. But it is the only plan she had, and she's willing to give up on her life if it means the boy she likes gets to live. Holy best girl. Sabrina, you're done. Hina and Amy, you both should go cure. No one could beat the GOAT in terms of best girl. In the next scene, Soda is planning to leave the school and bring the girls with him, which the 3 dumb fuck agrees to. That is until Nono with blonde hair came in, picked up the sword, and slashed towards the piece of shit. After seeing Nono uses Luca's skill and feeling the mana of Luca, 3 dumbasses finally realize that Savada is lying to them, and the game finally punishes Savada for once. It was frankly the most satisfying thing I've ever seen, and I can't wait for Savada's impending doom that was about to come. How are they going to torture this piece of scum? I've put up the list of torture methods, and I'm very excited to see what they are planning to do. The idea that they came up with, or 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒶𝒾 came up with, is to cast a spell on Sawada that causes his dick to hurt whenever he gets a boner. Yeah, that's it. So the way they torture him is by flashing themselves to him and forcing him to get a stiffy. I don't even know what to say anymore. In the end, Sawada died from cock and balls torture. 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒶 and the gang left the school and had lesbian sex with his harem now. Nono was still somehow alive inside of 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒶, and they live happily ever after. The end. Happy ending, I guess. Sabrina and the Power Soul is a game that I will remember for the rest of my life as one of the worst games I've ever played. It has a rage-inducing plot, unlikable characters, and painfully slow gameplay. But I do also find some of the scenes rather nice, even if a lot of them are just one scene stretched into multiple scenes. And that one ending that completely ruined me the first time I finished it, that ending almost made me hate NTR entirely. Almost. In conclusion, I just wanted to rant about this game for a really long time, and I absolutely do not recommend anyone to try this game. I'm not even going to give it a rating because there's no point at all. In the end, I finally got this out of my chest, and I feel so relieved. If you ask me if I would try out any new games from the devs of this game in the future, well, yeah.